Hello and welcome to Drawing My Eras from Persona Project as various medias from my childhood. Nostalgic medias at that. Check out the previous video where I drew all of my eras as Kirby characters, if you haven't already. And today we're going to be doing something a little different in comparison to the rest of this series. I've gone insane and I've decided that I'm going to animate the eras today because it fits the theme of Undertale. I've recently gotten into pixel art and now I'm ready to show off my skills. So without further ado, let's dive right in with Wild Child. I first went in and decided to design all of the eras in a different program so that way I have a good reference of what exactly I wanted out of each of them. So you'll see the programs kind of jump back and forth throughout this video as I decide what I want and what I don't want, from translating to regular art to pixels. I only exclusively use characters from Undertale as I want to do Deltarune in a separate video, so I wanted to stick to some of the more underrated characters, honestly. And Monster Kid is honestly such a great little guy, and I absolutely love this little character, and I thought that would be perfect for Wild Child. Such a similar energy, and of course, Wild Child can have a striped shirt to show that she's a kid, and I thought that would just be so perfect. I also just love the idea of making her just like a little tadpole without arms. It like actually kind of makes sense, honestly. She just has her little back legs, her little tadpole tail, and I wanted it to be a lot more frog-like to mimic one of the first enemies that you run into in the ruins of Undertale, because this is the first era after all. I knew I was gonna have a freaking field day when animating this little frog child because I love animating her cheeks on a regular day, but doing anything in pixel art is immediately 20 times cuter. I don't make the rules, it just is. I've gotten really good at making pixel art lately, and I'm really proud of how my animations are turning out more and more and more, so I'm really eager to see how it's going to translate to this video. It's like kind of my first showcase of showing off my skills. I'm like, alright, I'm ready, this is like my final test. So I like to have a lot of movement with my pixel art pieces, especially with characters, because in Undertale this is kind of all of you get to see of the characters, and most of them are in kind of black and white kind of fighting background sequences, but for this one I wanted to make them all colored anyways, just because I didn't want to be constricted by a limited palette like that, and the colors themselves really tell a story too. So I like to do eyes blinking, I like to do mouths opening and closing, and every little appendage that I can possibly move is going to move. I do a lot of like head bopping, kind of ambient little movements as they go back and forth. And I knew I was going to animate Wild Child's tail wagging back and forth because that's something I always animate in Persona Project anyways, so I was like, alright, time to translate that to pixels. And at first I thought maybe I would get Wild Child to do like a big like hop or something, but there really wasn't much room on this tiny canvas for that, and in the end I decided to just make the legs kind of moving back and forth. Maybe a little ambient wiggle from one of the little feet in the air. I thought that would be really cute, and I was gonna add a little boing to it to kind of be like, yeah, it's a little bit of a jump, but not like a gigantic hop or anything. And it was so freaking fun making the little eyes blink and the little mouth open, like the little froggy mouth. It's just so adorable. And like the shapes were pretty simple for this one. I'm kind of glad I started out with Wild Child first. Every single time I make these videos, I start out with her because she has the simplest design, honestly, out of all of them. So it really does help sometimes to gain my confidence to keep on pushing forward. Because let me tell you, making that striped shirt at an angle was kind of nuts, but I still managed it somehow. I don't know. I got those cheeks animated just like I do in Persona Project, but just obviously square. And I thought about adding the freckles on there, but it was a little too noisy, and I wanted to draw attention to the striped sweater because she's a kid and she's Monster Kid. Like, she's kind of the NPC I imagine in the background that's running around and chasing the protagonist and being like, I'm gonna follow you around everywhere, and just kind of following the protagonist and getting into all kinds of trouble. Like, that just totally fits Wild Child to me. Although I don't think she would live in Snowdin. I think she would obviously live in Waterfall. I think that would fit a lot better. She'd probably be on a lily pad there and like splash into the water ungracefully and then be like, yo, and like follow you around. Oh, I just think it's such a cute thing. If only Undertale were around for like my younger eras, because it came around during Parker's eras when I played it and was fixated on it heavily for many years after that. But man, my inner children would have absolutely loved this game, even though it probably would have made them so angry. They probably would have rage quit so much because I'm such a sore loser. Even today, when it comes to games that I'm good at, I don't handle losing very well. I get very bitter. So I can only imagine how they would react. I mean, Wild Child, when I used to play Super Mario Bros. On my Game Boy, I would literally bite the edges of my Game Boy because I get so absolutely upset about games beating me because I just wasn't good enough at them yet. And they were really difficult for like my age range, but I still played them anyways. Nevertheless, I still stand by the fact that games should be difficult and games should not just be easy, or they're not fun. There's no meaning, there's no joy in winning, you know? Like, if it's not a challenge, then there's not really anything fun about it for me. And that's part of why Undertale really intrigues me, because there is a route that is extremely difficult to engage with and have to start and finish. And it's so hard. It's like playing on extreme mode, and it's so neat that it's optional, so you can play the game in a silly way, still be a little challenged, but not so much you get so mad that you rage quit at Sans kind of thing. I think that really speaks to my inner children, because I am always up for a challenge, and I absolutely love games that challenge me, and Undertale is one of them. So this is my little pixel art of Wild Child in Undertale being Monster Kid. Isn't this so freaking fun? Look at her dance around. She's got her mouth open. She's kind of croaking with glee as she greets you on your path as you're going through Waterfall. Oh my gosh, how freaking precious is this? I am gonna have an absolute ball with this video, y'all. Blackbird was going to be an interesting one, considering there isn't that many bird characters that I was extremely fond of in Undertale, but there was a lot of bug characters I was really fond of. Like, one of the little first enemies you run to is a little whimsical fly, and I used to love the little bug guys so much. They're so cute. I thought that would be the perfect fit, considering they wear a mask and kind of are in this defensive stance with like an arrow as like their weapon. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be perfect for her, except I wanted to change the little antenna to be kind of fluffy, almost bird wings, to kind of mimic Blackbird's wings, obviously, but of course I was going to include actual kind of detached floating feathers of wings, but I wanted it to be on top of the head too instead of antenna, and oh, that just looks so good. And I was like so eager to go into this with her little bird feet and everything and dive right into the pixels. Oh man, the mask was honestly pretty easy to do. Getting her little hair tufts was easy to do. And I knew I wanted a very specific movement with this animation because I knew I wanted the little tufts to move up and down, but I didn't want to like animate them like very dramatically moving up and down, because the thing with pixel art is you can kind of move it down a single block and it'll be a very subtle animation versus like a very dramatic, you're animating every single thing over and over again to get like movement. I've noticed in all of my practice with pixel art that this is kind of the strat when it comes to making more subtle movements, and oh, I was so eager to do this. I was like, I knew exactly what I wanted. I had a vision. I knew exactly what layers I wanted to do. It's like all my 10 years of animation have like led up to this one skill. And I'm so proud, dude, because I was like, the cloak will be on top so the head can bomb up and down and look like it's behind it. And then I wanted the arms to be holding this spear, ambiently moving up and down with intimidation, and those big wings in the background kind of fluttering behind ambiently, back and forth, up and down, kind of chaotically, as Blackbird's kind of floating in place defending something she cares about. Because, like, let's be so for real, Blackbird's got major Undyne energy, and I love that for her so much. Because, yeah, I am major Undyne energy. Like, I can't help it. I've got, like, a hero soul, and I want to fight everything out of pure spite. Sorry, Toby Fox just continuously makes my personality and gender, like, on a regular basis. But, like, yeah, like, Blackbird would totally, absolutely love Undyne with all of her heart. And I'm like, well, we gotta play tribute to that by giving her, like, this gigantic arrow to throw at people. It's what Blackbird would want, guys. I think she would be an early on entity in the game as well. I think the action you would have to use to get Mercy and to allow yourself to not engage with this enemy would be that you would have to like compliment her or say that she's brave or strong or like pretend to admit defeat kind of thing, like, because Blackbird never backs down. That's like my fiery passion. That is like my most spiteful, motivated part of myself, and I don't think Blackbird would ever back down from a fight unless if she had gotten like extremely high praise and got distracted. Which I think a lot of our inner preteens can relate to. Sometimes all you need is somebody to just tell you that you're doing a great job, or that you're awesome, and that you're amazing, and that you're strong and beautiful, and gosh, you just don't hear it enough, especially when you're a teenager. It's almost like there's this weird thing with preteens where you're not allowed to like give them the childish praise, but you can't treat them like an adult either. It's just such an awkward in-between, and I remember so badly craving that kind of affirmation from people. So I think that would fit really well, that Blackbird would only back down from a fight if you gave her something like that. And then maybe it'd be adorable, like she'd have a little blush and be like, yeah, I'm awesome. Or like, duh, I knew that. Like, and she'd be all like mad about it, but it's like, no, you know she needed to hear that. Like, you know. Once I kind of tweened the fine details of the very, very, very subtle head bopping and the little bit of movement with the arrow, Blackbird in Undertale was complete. And man, I think this is my absolute favorite out of the batch. Oh my gosh, this turned out so freaking cool. It literally could be art from the game. Like, I did an amazing job with this. I'm just gonna, my inner preteen, listen well, little Blackbird. We did such a great job. We are awesome. We are amazing. We needed to hear it, and we are. So yeah, look how cool we are. Yeah, look Blackbird, look how freaking cool you are, dude. Parker is an interesting case because obviously Parker's OG design for Persona Project was literally based off of Sans because it was one of the first characters I identified with, literally. So that was interesting, but Parker also gives major Alphys vibes, which is so interesting because during the time I didn't think so, but looking back, oh yes, 100% I gave Alphys energy. But I also absolutely loved the fire characters like Grillby, and I was like, oh man, this is such a tough choice for me for Parker. But in the end, I decided to kind of just combine a little bit of everything here to get something kind of unique. So I knew I wanted there to be the big square glasses like Alphys and the big tooth sticking out, but I wanted the head to be fire. Like, I was like, yes, I definitely want this to be like a fire person because that exists all over in Undertale, especially in Hotland, where there's literally like a million different fire beings, NPCs and things there. But I had to give him the signature slippers, and I decided to like really exaggerate some of the features. Like, I really like to exaggerate things, especially with pixel art and Undertale. They tend to like really amplify small details, so I made the scarf like absurdly large and long as a means to kind of like make him into more of a believable, like, Undertale TM character. Once I was happy with the design, I went in and decided to smush layers that I shouldn't have from the get-go, and then kind of, like, realized, oh man, now I can't move the glasses up and down like I wanted to, but that's okay. You'll see what I mean by the end product. I was like, oh shoot, I kind of made a mistake, but when it comes to this kind of thing, oh, it's really hard to undo it all without having to redo everything, because pixel art is a little unforgiving, but that's okay. You live, you learn. I absolutely went crazy on the fire animation. I was like, I knew it was gonna be like 4 frames and it was gonna be very simple. At first I wasn't gonna animate it, but I was like, wow, this is gonna be really stagnant because I didn't intend on anything to really move that much with Parker because I know he's a very shy and to himself person, and I didn't really want to have it have all these flashy animations or anything. Like, it's just a very like simple, very still animation because that's how he is. He's very to himself in the corner, doesn't want to talk to anybody or draw any attention to himself. But without the fire moving, it was just boring. So I decided to animate the fire just very gently, just ambiently, like a few little wisps here and there, and it's kind of moving, but not in a very distracting way or like flashy manner. And then I thought it'd be really cute to kind of very subtly animate the little arms, one holding the other as it pushes up the glasses onto his face. And I wanted to animate the ding dang glasses, but I smushed all my layers and it just was not gonna happen without reanimating everything. So I was like, fine. Fine. I will live with my mistakes. It's still really adorable. But that's all of the movement I wanted to do, making this the most simple out of the batch, but just so freaking adorable nonetheless. I had to give Parker the little freckles, of course, but it ended up kind of looking like blush, which I think is really perfect considering Parker's such like an anime weeb. Oh my gosh, I know exactly where he'd be in the game. He would be at Hotland, probably in between somewhere with all the other anime-esque characters. Like, there's a green fire character who's like wearing an anime schoolgirl outfit. Like, he would be standing amongst them and probably would say some dorky one-off little line that would just be like not even memorable, but it's just like, oh dude, I love that character design. And then he'd just say something like, be a rebel. That would be it. Like, it would just be like, oh okay, yeah. He's like one little line of text and that's it. Because there's so many great NPCs in Deltarune and Undertale that are just peak design, and all they do is stand there and you talk to them once and they don't do anything else. Like, I love that so much about that game. It makes it feel so alive and full that there's just all of these beings that live here and monsters, and it's just normal and they don't have much to say all the time, and not every little thing means so much, and it's just I don't know, there's something about it that I just really, really like and appreciate, because it feels like now more than ever, some of the heavier criticisms from stories and games is that, oh, this NPC does nothing, or oh, it's just such a waste of time, and they didn't even give me anything, or I didn't get an item, and they're like, oh, and it's like, dude, sometimes people just exist in the world to make the world full, because otherwise it would be really empty and sad. You really get the feeling that all the monsters in Undertale are unanimously united under the fact that they live and are trapped in a dark world together, and it's really nice, and I just think it's an underappreciated thing. I really do appreciate the completely random NPCs in this stupid game that I love so very much. And here is my boy Parker as a little flame who exists in Undertale, probably in Hotland, amongst the other dorks. Probably admiring the royal scientist Alphys from afar, because, you know, I'm never gonna work up the nerve to actually talk to her. It's so cute and fun. I love imagining them in this world, especially because this was Parker's biggest fixation. I feel so healed drawing those stupid ugly pink slippers on this man. So for Holly's design, at first I was like, oh my gosh, we have Mew Mew now, which is great, which was like a new fight that was added in like the Switch version of Undertale for some reason and nowhere else. But then I just thought, oh, but I didn't grow up with that version, right? I grew up with like the PC game, and I was like, okay, as fun as it would be to make Holly into a magical girl, it's just like not the vibe, right? Like it's just not it. So that's when I scrapped the entire thing I was working on after I had already colored it and everything and went, you know what, no, I'm gonna go back to my roots. Because my favorite character in Holly's era was Temmie, and I think Temmie is freaking perfect for Holly's era because it's a cat. Maybe, question mark, it's a cat-like, let's just go with that. I don't know what Temmie is, but it's cat-like enough, and Temmie goes to college, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like my college era, that's like when I went to college, and Temmie wears a big sweater, and I was just like, wait a minute, why is this actually perfect though? So I went all in on that, went to go do my pixel art, and I knew exactly what I wanted out of this. I was like, it's gonna be the most movement out of all of them, but it's gonna be so freaking cute, and I knew from the beginning what I wanted, and I went and I seized the day, dude. I was like, all right, we're gonna have it blink and do a little like rar XD face and open it little mouth, and it's gonna be really cute. And I wanted to do like a little hop, like she's jumping up, like yippee, you know, like the little yippee creature, yippee. That's what I wanted. I basically just made a yippee Holly. I was like, you know what? If I could make myself an Undertale during that era, I would absolutely be an autism creature. Just like the world's most annoying, high-pitched autism creature. Yes, please. That is exactly all I would ever want out of that era. And it took like all of my skills I've learned to do this one, because it was definitely a little challenging to figure out how to do exactly what I wanted with all the pixels lining up and everything. Really glad I had really practiced my pixel art before attempting this, because I probably would not have been able to do what I wanted. But I got it, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Oh man, learning new skills is so hard at the beginning, but when it pays off, it pays off. It's so much fun. It was the New Year's resolution I made this year, was to learn pixel art, and I'm very happy to say I think I freaking nailed that. I think I've mastered it, and I'm so proud, man. But no, Holly's era was when I went to college, so I thought that'd be really fitting for Tem, because you basically could pay a ton of money in the game to send her to college. And that's basically what I did. I used all of the money I had made off of PetPyves during that era to put myself through my associate's degree, and then I was like, well, I don't want to go to art school because I watched art school basically destroy all of my art friends from the inside out, and I was like, yeah, no thank you, I'm good. And I already felt like I had learned so much on my own that I was like, I don't really know what more I could learn. Of course I can always learn more, but I think I have all the skills I need to do what I want, and I didn't want to wait. And that's kind of a really big thing with Holly era, is that she's a big go-getter and very passionate and very determined. A little impatient, but ambitious nonetheless, and I think it was really great that I didn't wait until I was like, oh, let me go through 4 years of art school and get myself into a bunch of debt, and then I'll start 12, because can you imagine that? 12 wouldn't have happened at all if I had gone to college, because then I would have been busy with all my college projects and schoolwork and social life and everything, to the point that my series would not have happened. And I stand by my choices of being like, no, I don't know what I want to major in yet, and no, I'm not going to waste all of my time and money doing something when I feel more than prepared to do what I want to do already right now. And that is the tale of how I chose 12 over my education. LOL. I love Holly era for it though. I would not have it any other way because yeah, I still stand by it. I think I have all the skills I need to make anything I want, and that is really all I wanted to go to college for. And if I already had it by teaching myself, then what was the point? I might as well just go chase my dreams. By the time I had animated the little tail, moving with the body, jumping up and down, and perfectly aligning every little thing, this is my little Yippee Holly from Undertale. Oh my gosh, she would absolutely be found in the Tem village. Holy cow. She would just be one of those NPCs that looks completely different from all the other Tems, but she convinces you that she's also Temmy. There's a character named Bob, so it'd be really funny if you'd expect this one to be named something different, but this one's just also Temmy. Oh, Holly, this turned out so beautiful. I absolutely love it, dude. I knew exactly who I was going to choose for Haley era. You all probably could have seen this coming, but it was Toriel, of course. I could not have chosen literally anyone else for the era that I title as the mother era, when I was the mother to my inner children and nurtured my mental health disorders for the first time ever. It was like the first era that I knew self-love, and when I think of something like that, I think of Toriel. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I was like, you know what, I kind of want to make it more dinosaur-like, but so I kind of referenced a little bit of like Alphys's head shape, but kept the horns, decided to add a little bit more spikes and claws and things to show that this is a dinosaur, not a goat, but still have a little bit of the goat features, so it's maybe in between, right? I feel like the mix between the goat features and the dinosaur features just kind of makes a dragon, so Haley would be a dragon in Undertale, I guess, and she would be a very kind tutorial to help you through something difficult in the game. Like Parker, when I went in for the pixel art, I knew I wanted it to be a very gentle and soft animation because that's just how Haley is and very shy. So I went and made sure that the eyes were gonna open and close very gently and slowly and like kind of dreamily, because I imagine that's just kind of like, I've kind of fit the art style of the eyes. I don't know, it just like, it just fit really well for like how tall I made the eyes. It just looks really cute and I'm really happy with how that turned out. And I was kind of surprised how easily I got all of the head shape down, because that was a pretty complicated one to translate over to pixel art. I still nailed it. I got all my freckles. It took me a minute to kind of get the eyes where I wanted, and the eyelashes were kind of like crazy for whatever reason. I don't know why that was tripping me up so bad, but it was. But once that was ready to go, I knew it was just pretty much downhill from there. It was just gonna be really easy. I was gonna draw her little hands clasped together in front of her very respectfully. I was gonna have them kind of bob up and down gently, and I made her overalls, instead of them being shorts, it's kind of a dress to kind of match Toriel's dress, and the little symbol in the middle, instead of it being like the ruins or the, I guess, the Delta rune symbol, it's her pocket of her dress, of course. The little claws on her feet had me tripped up so bad for some reason. I was just like trying so hard to mimic what I did on one side to do on the other so it's symmetrical, but like, honestly, I kind of gave up at one point and I was like, you know, it's more natural when it's asymmetrical. So one leg is kind of bigger than the other, but I'd like to imagine that she's leaning more on her right leg than her left kind of thing. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of sick of making everything absolutely perfect all the time, because that's just not natural and that's not true to life. Life itself is asymmetrical and is just very alive, and I wanted to kind of capture that here because I have been on a bit of a perfectionist run, and as these videos have been a little slower is because I'm being so meticulous about every little thing, but I'm like trying to let go of that and just learn to enjoy art, and it does not have to be perfect to look good. Feels like it fits in with Haley's era, honestly. Learning to kind of love myself and learning to be kinder to myself is definitely a big motif in her era. And man, as always, do I have the most fun animating tails. I am just, man, that's like one huge thing about 12 and Origins and my whole entire life of drawing cats and dogs for many different reasons, whether it be map parts, animation memes, my own animated series. I have found that I absolutely love animating them because it's such a simple animation cycle and it always looks good no matter what direction the tail is swishing, how big the tail, what material it's made of, whether it's fluffy, whether it's a dinosaur tail, whatever it is, tails are so fun to animate. And I had a ball, and you can just tell, like, I just don't know how to explain it. It's just years of experience. I just know what I want it to look like and how it will look. It's so cool watching all of my life skills turn into something really useful with pixel art, and I never thought I would be a pixel artist, and here we are. It's just so fun. You never know what you're going to learn and how your skills can stack and how you can use them in the future to do even more cool stuff. Like, if you would have told me that when I was learning to draw that eventually I'd be a pixel artist, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But all of my years of animation have led me here, and oh, look at how it paid off. Look at this adorable spotty dinosaur dragon goat of Undertale for Haley. Oh my gosh, look how freaking precious she is. She's the most kind, sweetie, most babyest, most beautiful girl I ever did see. I do love her little shy demeanor, but she looks so kind, and she would absolutely help you out on your journey if Toriel was not there to do so. Maybe she can help out beyond the ruins throughout the other various places in Undertale. For the final design today, I knew exactly who I wanted to reference for Robin. There's a few enemies for Undertale that I absolutely adore. There's like this magic person with a hat who has these orbs floating beside them, and I always thought that animation was sick. I always thought that was like the most peak out of all the Undertale animations. I was like, dude, this one random NPC popped the hell off with their design and animation. They just like went crazy on that dude, and I love him. And then I also love Napstablu because I'm going for like a very spooky vibe lately. I've been feeling very Halloween core in this era, so I thought I'd pick kind of the spookier guys to go with, and maybe even Grilby, because I do be feeling in my fire arc again. I do be feeling pretty fiery like Parker, but nevertheless I decided on kind of combining the ghost aspect with the magic aspect. So I kind of did like this bird shaped ghost with wings and a beak with the curly hat and the little bit of like magical aura kind of coming off of it. And this is the one I struggled with the most because I knew what I wanted and I did not know how to get there. It was very taxing, but once I got it, oh man. I knew what I wanted at first. You can tell. I locked in, I made the eyes kind of this glowing, interesting, like light to dark, very mystical vibe. And then the hat was like, no problem. It was like boom, boom, boom. The head was done. I was like, okay, cool, awesome. And then came the wings. I was like, oh man, I really would like it for the wings to like look like they're flapping. Not like in a traditional sense of a bird, but like kind of unsettling, like they move up and down, very ghost-like instead of more bird-like, where it's almost like the ghost is trying to be a bird and wasn't a bird in its previous life. Was kind of the lore I was thinking about while I was animating this. And man, I spent an absurd amount of time trying to get that right, man. I was like, this is the challenging part. Sometimes I'm really good at this, and then sometimes I reach a wall where I'm like, oh wow, I do have more to learn, huh? And that's kind of the thing with all art. You're always learning, and every single time you try to do something new and step outside of your usual comfort zone, it's not comfortable, and you will learn by the end. You will get through it, but god, was it a struggle getting there. Nevertheless, I think Robin's character here, this little magic ghost, would be one of like the last enemies. Maybe would even be haunting the true lab, the Alphys's lab. I think that'd be really interesting, or would be found in the core, right? Like really like lore heavy areas. I've been in my writing era, this era, like I have been a huge writer, and I've been writing, like I wrote like 150 pages of an OC document the other day. Like I'm going crazy with the writing. So I feel like I am definitely a lore keeper right now, and I feel like this little entity would definitely be found somewhere where lots of lore is, as like a protector of those stories. Because yeah, I do feel like a protector of my stories lately. I've been dealing with a lot of health problems and very scary health problems that have made me have to gripe with life and death itself, and having to kind of sit there and realize like, no, I am the keeper of like my stories, my characters, my lore. They live inside of me. Unless I can tell those stories, they will also go with me if I lose any of the battles I'm facing. And it's like a really sad thing, and I know it's a bit of a downer, but it is like it's a motivator for me to continue to keep pushing forward and keep telling stories and prioritize them above all else, because those characters in those worlds and fiction means so much to me and helps me cope so much better with everything that I have going on. It's just so important to me that I capture everything I can, whether it be in writing or art, in a new skill, whatever it may be. I want to make sure it is remembered. And it just fits so well. Like I just wanted, making this era into a ghost is so interesting to me, because it's like that in between being alive and being dead, but still maintaining the job that I set out to do and maintain, protecting stories and characters characters and lore, and like, oh, dude, the way that this design resonates with me on such a personal level right now is so crazy. And even if it feels a little dark, I mean, it's soul healing for me, because that's where I've been lately. I've been really sick and unwell and having to face some really sad realities, but I'm still holding on strong, and I still have that magic in me, and I'm not letting it go, and I'm gonna make sure I share as much of it as I can. And oh, animating the little effects were so easy. It was just like boom, 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 I'm done, right? Like, I just know how to animate those things after years of doing it forever and ever, and I was like, yeah, this is perfect. Once I finally got it all down, this would be Robin's floating ghost, a magical being who protects the lore, stories of this land from harm. Oh man, it turned out so good. I know I struggled a lot, but I'm like, you know what? It turned out great. It's the most unique out of all of them. I really enjoy it. I think I nailed everything I wanted out of design and translated it perfectly to pixel art. I don't know about you guys, but I think I absolutely nailed that, and it has been so fun to do an episode of animation. I never thought with this series I would be doing a speed animation versus a speed art, and I'm so happy to show my process. I hope you enjoy seeing how I managed to translate all of my skills into something new and see how pixel art kind of unfolds layer by layer. And I think the next video is going to be another highly suggested media from my childhood. Wild Child's absolute favorite. I want to do Teen Titans. I want to tackle a very anime style and see if I could turn all of my eras into various superheroes from the Teen Titans world. I hope you join me for that next time. Until then, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye!